Imagine this. You set the absolute peak of your professional dream, that one huge goal you keep putting off, calling it someday. And then, boom, you get hit with an expiration date. Not for a project, but for you.
Yeah.
5 years, maybe less.
It's an almost unbelievable scenario, isn't it? Just incredibly intense.
Exactly. And that's what Steve Mazan faced. He was already a successful comedian, a writer,
Right.
doing well.
Right.
But that diagnosis, it just instantly changed everything.
Yeah.
His biggest career, dreamed of performing stand-up on The Late Show with David Letterman. It wasn't a someday anymore.
No, it became his mission, like the only mission that mattered.
Yeah, not just chasing a big gig. It was a race against time, against his own body.
A sprint against a terminal clock, as you put it.
So today, that's what we're doing. A deep dive into how he pulled it off. We're looking at the source material, the facts, his career before, the medical stuff, the incredible reaction afterwards.
Right. We want to map out how this one guy turned something so personal, so seemingly impossible, into this huge story of resilience that everyone heard about. Focus. Triumph.
And this story, I think, it gives you, the listener, such a powerful model.
Oh, absolutely. This isn't just, telling a nice story. We're really trying to dissect how it worked. How did that singular, intense focus, driven by this extreme urgency, how did that overcome just massive obstacles, physical ones, logistical ones?
Yep.
So our mission really is to unpack the specifics, his professional background, which was already solid, the exact nature of the health crisis, and then analyze how he achieved what one critic, Donald Liebenson, called, well, something pretty amazing about Letterman's whole run.
Yeah, one of the most triumphant moments in Letterman's entire 33-year history. That's huge.
It's staggering, really.
So we're tracing this whole arc, successful writer, then the health crisis hits.
That's the turning point.
Which kind of forged this laser focus on one professional goal, and then achieving it and documenting it all.
Exactly. We need to slow down and really look at that timeline to appreciate what a massive accomplishment this was.
Yeah. So let's start before 2005. Who was Steve Mazan then? Born May 22, 1970. And the key thing here, I think, is that he wasn't some newcomer desperate for a break.
No, absolutely not. That's crucial. He was a serious player in the industry already, had real successes under his belt.
We have to establish that foundation because it really highlights the sheer grit it took later.
Totally agree. If we just paint him as, sick guy chases dream, we miss the professional weight he already carried. He was an American stand-up comedian, yes, but also a published author and, importantly, a successful TV writer.
And those are tough fields.
Incredibly tough. Fields that, frankly, chew people up and spit them out if they're just okay. So being solid in all three, that shows real talent, real professionalism.
And we have solid proof of that skill set right in the sources. He won an Emmy Award.
Yes. We can't just skate past that. An Emmy.
For writing on the Ellen DeGeneres Show.
Which is massive.
Wow.
Winning a writing Emmy, especially for a big daytime show like Ellen's, that tells the industry a lot.
What does it signal specifically?
Well, first, it shows you get structure, you get how jokes work at a high level, you're writing stuff that hits consistently for a huge audience day after day.
Right, not just one-off gigs.
Exactly. And second, it proves you can write in someone else's voice, you can collaborate under pressure, that show environment is intense.
So he wasn't just a performer, he understood the machine.
He got how network TV worked, and that professionalism, that discipline he already had, that's vital. It shows he had the tools, the focus of a pro to go after that Letterman goal, not just wish for it.
Okay, and that professional background, it seems to connect to his actual comedy style, too. The sources call it clean and clever comedy.
And that's a really significant description, especially thinking about late-night TV back then.
Why clean?
Well, doing clean comedy, especially on network TV in the early 2000s, it often demanded more craft. You couldn't rely on shock value or easy laughs from being edgy.
Right, you had to actually write jokes.
Precisely. And clever suggests wit, smart observations, maybe surprising structures. It takes real writing discipline. And for a show like Letterman, which always valued that kind of sharp, witty performance, think about Seinfeld or Ellen herself on that stage.
Yeah, definitely.
Mazan's established style made him a natural fit, potentially. He was already operating at that high level of execution.
Okay, now let's tackle this Letterman goal itself. There's a bit of nuance, right? The main story is about him dreaming of performing comedy on the show. But some sources hint he might have been on before. How do we square that?
Yeah, this needs a careful look. It's very possible, even likely, that Mazan had appeared on Letterman earlier in his career, maybe a shorter spot, maybe something less prominent.
Okay.
But the diagnosis in 2005 completely changed the meaning of that stage for him. A performance before the diagnosis, that's a career milestone, another credit.
Just another step on the ladder.
Exactly. But the goal after the diagnosis, that became the whole point.
Yeah.
A thesis statement of his remaining life almost.
Wow. So it went from being a professional goal to something existential.
Precisely. The ambition wasn't just get booked on Letterman. It became about using that specific stage, the most iconic stage in comedy, as the place where he would declare victory over his own mortality.
That's powerful.
The chase itself became this public quest, high stakes. It symbolized refusing to let his illness write the final chapter of his career. He was leveraging the fame, the difficulty, the meaning of the Letterman stage to amplify his own survival story. That final performance had to represent a life fully lived against the odds.
So the goal wasn't just the performance, it was the quest itself.
Yes, filled with this immense personal and symbolic weight.
So the stage was kind of set, professionally speaking. He had the achievements, the style, and this big goal in mind, Letterman.
Right, the foundation was there.
Then 2005, everything changes. We shift from career trajectory to, well, personal crisis. This is where it gets incredibly real, life and death real.
And the specifics of that diagnosis, they're absolutely key to understanding just how huge this challenge was. He was diagnosed with inoperable metastatic neuroendocrine cancer. We should probably break that down a little for the listener.
Let's do that. What does that actually mean?
Okay, so inoperable basically means surgery, often the main way to cure cancer, wasn't an option. Maybe the tumor was too spread out or in a really bad spot near vital organs, or maybe his health wouldn't allow a major operation.
Got it. Not good.
Not good at all. Then metastatic means the cancer had already spread from where it started. That makes it exponentially harder to control.
Right.
And neuroendocrine tumors themselves, they can be tricky, sometimes aggressive. So putting it all together, it described a very advanced, serious, life-threatening cancer with no easy cure.
And that severity is hammered home by the timeline they gave him. Fox News reported he was told he might only have 5 years left.
5 years, starting in 2005. Just imagine getting that news.
Wow. A deadline on your life.
Yeah. A brutal deadline. But, and this is amazing, it also became this incredible catalyst, an accelerator.
How so?
Well, think about it. He got the diagnosis in 2005. His story really started getting major attention around 2011 when the documentary buzz started. That's 6 years.
So he outlived the initial prognosis window while actively chasing the dream.
Exactly. It shows this sustained, focused effort. That medical deadline forced this radical life pivot instead of just, retreating.
Which many would understand.
Completely. He used that window, that compressed time, to go all in on his defining goal.
And the decision sounds like it was instant. The Chicago Daily Herald had that headline, right? Sick comedian's goal, do Letterman show or die trying.
I mean, talk about intense dedication. He focuses limited time not on just relaxing, but on this ultimate professional achievement.
That psychological shift is, well, it's fascinating.
It really is. Most people facing that kind of diagnosis might prioritize family time, travel, maybe spiritual things, and I'm sure Mazan did value those things too. But he chose professional definition as his primary focus in that moment. He switched from just general career upkeep, the next gig, the next script, to this intense, almost spiritual drive for one specific, defining accomplishment.
It's a huge lesson in prioritization for anyone listening, right?
Yeah.
When your time is suddenly finite.
Absolutely. All the non-essential stuff just falls away. The pressure clarifies everything.
But it wasn't just making a decision.
Oh, no. We have to appreciate the sheer logistics and mental strength involved. It's not just saying, I'm going to focus. It means keeping up the work, traveling, writing new jokes, perfecting the set, chasing the bookers, all while fighting a serious progressive disease.
That's the real meaning of turning someday into today, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's dedicating that precious, limited energy to something massive.
That's it, exactly.
So why Letterman specifically? Why was that the stage that represented everything for him?
Well, for comedians of his generation, getting on Letterman was kind of the holy grail. It was universally seen as the gold standard.
More than other shows?
Arguably, yes, in that era. It wasn't just another TV spot. It was getting knighted by the king of comedy. Letterman was known for his discerning taste. He liked smart, structured, clever comedy.
The style Mazan already had.
Exactly, the style he specialized in. So getting that spot wasn't just exposure, it was validation from the top. the ultimate seal of approval in late night.
It just carried a different weight.
It really did. So if Mazan was going to make one final, huge professional statement, it had to be on the stage with the highest stakes, the deepest meaning. It turned the whole thing into this public drama, a goal everyone in the business understood the significance of.
By tying his survival to getting on that specific show.
He transformed a TV appearance into this life-affirming public act, a testament to the human spirit pushing back even when the body was failing.
So, because this whole quest was so dramatic, so focused, with this life or death clock ticking, it naturally got noticed.
Yeah, it's the kind of story that draws people in.
And he turned this deeply personal battle medical professional into something public. The documentary, Dying to Do Letterman.
And that act of documenting it, of letting filmmakers in, that was huge. It shifted the story from just his private struggle to something universal, something inspiring.
Just got to see the behind-the-scenes stuff.
Exactly. Access not just to the comedy world, but to the vulnerability of dealing with the diagnosis, the sheer grind of keeping the dream alive. The film itself became this vehicle for showing resilience, the mental toll, the physical toll.
And the film wasn't just seen as like a nice human interest story. It got serious recognition.
Oh, yeah. Immediately.
Yeah.
The sources confirm it got major props right away. It was invited by the IDA, the International Documentary Association.
That's a big deal in the doc world.
Huge deal. Invited to qualify for the Academy Awards.
Wow. Okay.
That invitation tells you a lot. It means the film was seen as serious filmmaking. Powerful, well-crafted, artistically significant, more than just feel-good. It showed that Mazan's journey tapped into these really deep, universal themes, life, death, dreams, legacy. It resonated way beyond just comedy fans.
That kind of recognition means the film really nailed telling a sensitive story in a compelling way.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's get to the payoff. The big moment everything was building toward.
Just summit.
Against all the odds of that inoperable diagnosis. He did it. He beat the 5-year clock, kept living.
Yeah.
And he got on Letterman. The quest succeeded. A double victory, really.
That double win is exactly why the story blew up. Why major outlets like Fox News, the Chicago Daily Herald picked it up. First, just surviving past that initial prognosis for that kind of cancer. Huge. Second, hitting the exact professional target he'd aimed for during those survival years.
It's just an incredible display of willpower.
Focused willpower overcoming physical limits.
Yeah. But the reaction to that specific Letterman appearance, that was something else again. It wasn't just, hey, good set. It was seen as historic for the show itself.
Right. And we absolutely have to highlight that quote again. Donald Levinson, writing for HuffPost in 2015, he called Mazan's appearance
one of the most triumphant moments during Dave's 33-year tenure.
Let's just sit with that for a second. 33 years of Letterman.
I mean, think of all the moments on that show. Huge interviews, presidents, cultural icons.
Iconic comedy debuts, legendary music acts, massive news events reflected on the show.
Unscripted moments, raw moments.
Thousands and thousands of episodes. And for a respected longtime critic like Levinson to put Mazan's single stand-up set up there among the most triumphant, it's just astounding.
It tells you the audience wasn't just laughing at jokes that night.
No way. They were plugged into something much bigger. They were responding to the human story unfolding right there.
The triumph of the narrative.
Exactly. The comedy itself had to be good, obviously. He was a pro. But the context, knowing this guy stared down death and picked this stage as his finish line, it just supercharged the emotion.
It blended vulnerability and professional excellence.
Perfectly. It wasn't just Mazan hitting his mark. It felt like everyone watching was part of this profound yes to life.
And that narrative power, that's why it got so much press, resonated so widely.
For sure. Across different news platforms, over time, it proved context can elevate a great performance into something truly legendary.
Okay, so the story didn't just end when Letterman went to commercial break that night.
Not at all. The success of the journey, the film's reception, the sheer power of the personal victory, it all meant Mazan's experience could become something more, a legacy, something instructive.
He transitioned, right?
Yeah, that transition is the final key part of his arc. He recognized the value of his story went beyond just entertainment. It was deeply inspirational, and he leveraged that, which led directly to a book deal with HCI Books, an autobiography.
And that title, Dying to Do Letterman, Turning Someday into Today. The New York Daily News reported that back in 2011, that subtitle, Turning Someday into Today, that feels like the core message for listeners.
It really is the philosophical heart of the whole thing, isn't it? Facing mortality forced him to turn that deferred dream, the someday goal,
Into something he had to do right now, today.
exactly. It was like the ultimate procrastination killer. That unavoidable, terrifying deadline forced him to act. By writing the book, Mazan basically created a manual from his experience, showing how that intense focus can unlock your priorities and drive execution.
And how maybe you don't need the terrible diagnosis to find that focus.
That's the hope, right? The book offers that blueprint without the crisis.
He essentially packaged his method for achieving goals under extreme pressure.
Mm-hmm. And he took that message to another huge platform, TedX.
Right. He gave a big TEDx talk about the whole experience. Battling cancer, chasing the dream.
Yeah, the external links mentioned the title was something to laugh about.
Which fits him perfectly.
No, it really does. It shows how he could take this incredibly heavy stuff, trauma, illness, mortality, ambition, and translate it into something motivational, even using humor. He used his identity as that clean and clever comedian to make these deep, serious messages about resilience incredibly relatable and persuasive. Humor as a tool for strength.
So let's try and tie all this together for someone listening. This isn't just a feel-good story. It's like a roadmap. Adaptation, resilience, amplification.
Absolutely. If you connect the dots, his whole career path shows how a crisis can actually redefine your mission and make it much, much bigger. He started with real success. The Emmy win proved his skills.
Right, the foundation.
Then came the devastating health challenge, inoperable cancer, the 5-year clock, immense pressure. He channeled that pressure into one single defining dream, the Letterman set.
And
Crucially, he didn't stop there. He spun that achievement into this lasting legacy across multiple platforms. The acclaimed documentary, the book teaching the someday into today principle, the motivational speaking.
So his biggest obstacle, his illness, actually became the engine for his biggest platform.
In a way, yes. The intense focus needed to chase that dream might have even fueled his fight to live longer, you know? And the high stakes of that dream made the story resonate so powerfully, ensuring it lasted.
It really demonstrates that focused action, maybe driven by urgency, whether real or self-imposed, can be this incredible act of affirming life itself.
Yeah. Proving that striving for excellence, even in your career, can be a profound way of saying, I choose life. #tag outro.
Okay, so let's quickly recap the main takeaways from this deep dive into Steve Mazan's incredible story.
Let's do it.
You know, now he wasn't just starting out. He was an Emmy-winning writer for Ellen. Had that solid professional base.
Crucial context.
You know, the trigger was that 2005 diagnosis. Inoperable metastatic neuroendocrine cancer. And that terrifying 5-year prognosis.
The biological deadline.
Which forced his laser focus onto one goal. Performing comedy on Letterman. A quest so compelling it became an award-qualifying documentary, Dying to Do Letterman.
Documented for all to see.
And most importantly, he didn't just survive the deadline, he smashed the goal, leading Donald Liebenson to call his appearance one of the most triumphant moments in Dave's entire 33-year run.
An astonishing achievement and recognition.
So this deep dive really shows a mechanism, doesn't it? Success came from applying that intense focus, the kind usually reserved for life-or-death crises, to a specific professional ambition.
Exactly. He needed that deadline, that pressure, to cut through the someday mentality and force immediate, dedicated action.
And we all have those someday goals, right? Things we put off because, well, we think we have plenty of time.
Projects, career moves, personal stuff.
But if the heart of Mazan's story was the pressure of dying to do Letterman,
then the lesson for you, listening, is about finding your urgency. What can propel you forward now?
So the final thought to leave you with, what is your Letterman? What's that singular defining goal in your life right now, the one you keep calling someday?
And maybe more importantly, how can you create that intense focus, that absolute priority, the mindset Mazan found through crisis to make sure your someday actually becomes today?
Without needing the terrible wake-up call he got. That's the challenge. That's the real application of what we learned from Steve Mazan's triumphant pursuit.